Well, good morning, West Coast, and good afternoon, East Coast. This is Jim and Anna. Hi,
Hi.
Jim.
Hi, Anna. How are you doing?
I'm great, and you are somewhere in the car.
Yeah, I am in a car. I'm in a hot yellow Mustang sitting outside the Santa Barbara Mission. And at the end of the broadcast today, I'll show you what my view looks like. It is overcast, June gloom in Santa Barbara, but I'm not complaining.
No, right, right. I hope you get some rain.
They had some the other day, so I think they're
Hopefully.
happy.
Well, that's good. So I heard, Jim, that you went to Italy.
I did, Anna, and I heard you went to Italy too.
Yeah, I think we crossed paths somewhere and
Yeah,
had a cooking school together. Do you remember
that's
that?
right. And drank lots of cappuccino together.
I know. I hope you guys enjoyed our little picture invitation with the cappuccino and croissants. We had plenty of those. So,
Yes.
well, Jim, you want to get to questions?
Yes. Here's a good question for you, Anna, and I'll read it quickly because it's rather lengthy.
Oh, all
Our
right.
plan to our plan to purchase a new, larger home in 4 to 5 years. We're thinking about based on the current prices. We think it'd be more cost effective than just add on to our house. It's estimated 50 to 60,000, so that's how much extra we'll need. Where's the cash going to come from? Do we get it from a home equity line of credit, from our investment accounts, from our emergency fund? And secondly, if we're thinking about doing this next spring, we have some time to change where we put our monthly surplus cash. Right now, that's averaging about $2,000 a month. So there's a lot of moving parts there.
Yes, I agree. There are. So I guess first is the first thought I have is, since we reshuffling the priorities of the goals, because we originally had 4 to 5 years to plan for either a home down payment in the same amount or possibly doing this addition. So I think that since we have allocated the $2,000 a month or have that extra money in surplus. So why not earmark that towards this goal since it's happening so fast and within 12 months. So that possibly could be a one half of estimated budget for this remodel. As far as where to put it, that's definitely a very safe kind of a account or a vehicle, such as a high yield online savings account, or I mean, it could be maybe just a savings account at the bank, but there's not much of an interest. So high yield online or money market savings account would be a good place to start. And then as far as where to get the rest of the money, you asked about whether should we tap the home equity line of credit, investment accounts, and or emergency fund. So we'd like to leave emergency fund alone. It's emergency fund, and it's this kind of a goal does not seem to be like an emergency to us. So we'll put that aside. I think home equity line of credit would be first place after you've accumulated 24 to 25,000 by next spring. And I think a good reason is because the rates are still fairly low. Plus, you'll benefit from interest rate deduction on your taxes. And then if that's still not an option, or if the rates change significantly by next spring, which I don't think that's realistic, then we can take a look and see how your investment accounts are performing, and maybe we can sell some positions there to raise the funds to cover this addition. How about that, Jim?
Good answer. So
Anything you
let's
want to
go.
add?
No, you know what? I think you covered it all. I was impressed. You're doing a good job.
Okay, well then how about I test your abilities?
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay, let's go. My insurance agent thinks that I should invest in an annuity that starts in my mid 80s in case I live too long. So what do you think about that, Jim? Annuities, our favorite kinds of vehicles.
Well, they call this longevity insurance. In our business, it's a single premium deferred annuity because you're deferring that income till later on. And it's something that a lot of people worry about, living too long and outliving your money. So it's a product that's come on the market in the last few years, and it's got significant press because the IRS and the Treasury Department said you can fund these annuities, these kinds of annuities, out of your 401k or IRA. You can also fund it out of a CD or your taxable accounts or other things like that too, but many times that involves paying taxes. And so you would be deferring the taxes until much later if you took it out of your IRA or 401k. And it also would reduce in the earlier years of your retirement the size of the required minimum distributions because you lowered the overall balance in your IRA or 401k. So it is an alternative, but there's some things that people need to think about. They need to think about long-term care insurance versus this deferred income annuity. They also have a limit on how big you can make this annuity. The limit out of your 401k or IRA is $125,000. And so that doesn't sound like a large amount of money to fund an annuity. But if you were, say, age 60, and it usually kicks in around age 85, then you have 25 years of growth. So 125,000 could grow faster than, say, a CD or something else like that. So that is an advantage, those kinds of annuities. I did some numbers to give people an example. If you were a 60-year-old male like me, and you took 125,000 out of your IRA, the future benefit is $7,000 a month, and that's a single life, just my life in this example, my life. They would pay me $7,000 a month for the rest of my life, starting at age 85. And I discounted that back to today's dollars, Anna, and that's about $3,200 a month. So when you think of putting 125,000 aside in today's dollars, and you're a 60-year-old guy, then in today's dollars, that's $3,200 a month. In future dollars, 25 years, that should be around $7,000 a month. So it's not a bad idea. The downside I see is after the 10-day free look on that annuity, you can't get your money back. You're committed because it's a nice payout, but you're deferring it for, in my example, 25 years. So you're locking up the money. And if you don't live that long, guess what happened? You made a mistake. If you lived to 100, it was a really good idea.
Wouldn't you say that maybe it's advantageous to take a look at this kind of scenario when you're in your 70s?
Well, you can,
80s?
but they require a larger lump sum because you have less time to accrue the increase in the value of it.
True.
So there's a trade-off. The earlier you do it, the less it costs you.
I know, but don't you
postponing it, and some of the contracts, there's not a lot around. Some of the contracts won't accept you after a certain age, and 70 might be the cutoff for some of them. I don't know enough details, having not looked at all the contracts, but there is some cutoff where they won't accept it anymore.
Right, but I'm just thinking that maybe between your 60s and your 70s, you have some time to maybe grow your monies in vehicles like, low-cost index funds, and then look at this option at that point, because it's like you're thinking about what's going to happen in 30 years. So are you really going to live that long? What if your health changes? So it's just something that kind of came to my mind while you were talking about it.
Right. And in the end, the reason that I'm not fond of it at this point in time, given the contractual limits, is not being able to get your money back after 10 days really bothers me.
Yes. Well, annuities are typically have those kind of stipulations, but
well, they usually have surrender charges, and you could get part or most of your money back. In this case, after the 10-day look on the product I looked at, it was a sunk amount of money. You just made your bet and you have to live with it.
Yeah.
It's an insurance policy. It's deferred income insurance. That's what it is.
Well, it is, so because there's a risk that you're trying to insure, so that's the cost, I suppose, for that.
Okay. You
Well,
ready
great.
for another question?
All right, shoot. Oh, just let's give everybody a reminder.
The chat box.
The chat, yes, we're the
Oh,
chat
you always remind people of that. I don't
You-
want any last minute quick questions.
Okay, I will remind you. No questions for
Okay.
Jim, please. Okay, let's go. We need to be on time this time
Okay.
around.
I recently inherited a small sum of money and wanted to put it in a separate place along with our emergency fund. Any recommendations for money market funds? All the interest rates look pretty low, and a few of them have or don't have check writing ability. What are your recommendations?
So this question, one of the resources we frequently use, or pretty much anytime we write a report for financial plans, at least I do, I use bankrate.com, and so there's a section where you can look up the latest rates on money markets, CDs, and so forth. So last time I checked, and it was actually funny, I think Jim will have a laugh at this. The two top banks that have the requirements that this question was asking about, a good rate and a check writing abilities were Everbank and Ally. So the two banks that we already use. So the only little disadvantage about Everbank was that you had to have like $1,500 to start the account, but both of them are about at 1%. So that would be a good option for someone who has a little bit of money from an inheritance and wants a safe place to park it. And both of these would offer a check writing ability. And actually, they also have a debit card. I personally have an Ally account, so I have checks and a debit card.
Okay, and I would remind people that we're recording this in June 2015, so rates can change.
Exactly, rates do change. But one of the things too, I've noticed that they've been increasing. So I can't wait until we have 5% rate on our money markets, like we used to have 5 years ago. So
right, and inflation will be the same place. Okay,
yes.
So don't forget.
No, right.
Okay, ask me my last question.
All right, here's your question. I'm saving for a house down payment and a new car. Where do I put this money for? Where do I put the money first?
Yes, good question. Where do I put the money? We get this frequently, and it really depends on the person who's asking the question's timing for using the money. As you talked about earlier in another money question, if it's less than a year, you're probably just going to be in a high yield insured savings account, and that's about all. But if it's 3, 4, or 5 years, then we expand the kinds of securities that we're recommending. And depending upon people's tolerance for risk, and when we talk about risk, we talk about market volatility. That's really what most people equate with risk. Also, we tend to recommend 2 or 3 different securities, like an index fund of preferred stocks that might pay about 6%, or a bond fund from PIMCO that might pay 5%, or a national municipal bond index fund that might pay 3%, but it's federally tax-free. Or if you're a District of Columbia resident, it's double tax-free. So we usually recommend multiple pots to put the money in, because we want fairly low volatility and we want a good return on our money for the volatility risk that we're going to take. So once you get closer than 1 year, then we're going to be recommending you move it back into that bucket 1 high yield savings, because you can't afford to take the risk. In some cases, we've even recommended a balanced fund, whether it's Vanguard or Fidelity or Janus. A number of providers have balanced funds, sort of half stocks, half bonds, But again, it would be part of 3 or 4 different securities to put it in. It wouldn't be just making a decision to put it all in one thing. So there's my answer.
Yeah. Well, one of the things too is if you still have a car, and maybe possibly trading that in could help you with the down payment as well. So that's just a little found money.
Okay.
Okay, Jim. We have just a little over 1 minute. Do you want to wrap up and show us your view?
Sure. Do we have any chat questions first of all?
Just a sec. Oh, yes, there looks like there's one question.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking to set up a power of attorney, but I don't have a family member to assign it to. Is there another way, like an outside of legal person that I can use to be that power of attorney for me?
Well, I'll take the first stab at that. A trusted friend, or it could be like your accountant or your attorney, because this is a power of attorney usually for financial management if you're incapacitated. There's also a group of people who are licensed and bonded around the country called daily money managers. These are people that come in and pay your bills and do things like that. That might be a prospective person that you would tap into. It's a difficult thing to do, and to find a niece or a nephew is probably easier to do than find an independent person that you might have to pay. And you're not paying them for work, you're just paying them for agreeing to potentially do work for you. And then you'd have to come up with some compensation also. So I think looking for relatives is probably more practical, but sometimes that's difficult. That's the best answer I can give you.
A private fiduciary comes to mind. Those types of people that probably can also be on that list. I think it's the same arrangement. You can just ask them to be available, and there might be a little fee that you pay them yearly just to be around, so that you can count on them.
Okay.
Yeah. I have quite a bit of those private fiduciaries in my estate planning council group. So, okay, we are ready for your view.
Okay, well, I'm getting out of the car now, carefully, because I'm handling the
Santa Barbara mission. Oh, I can see it.
Can you see it in the background there?
Yes, I can. I'm sure everybody else can too.
And right next to me is this is the rose garden that's in front of it. And you can see there are plenty of tourists there today.
But just hold it there for a little bit.
You want to see the cars driving by? Is that it?
Yeah, just hold it like that. We can see it.
Okay.
We can hear the birds chirping. Well, that's great. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, Anna, I'm back.
All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna close for today. Enjoy your stay in Santa Barbara. I suppose I'll see you tomorrow in San Francisco.
Yes. If anybody's in Santa Barbara today, that's what I'm driving.
Oh, look at this!
Easily recognized.
Look at this hot ride. Okay. Well, go have fun. I will see you guys.
It's my midlife crisis.
No. Don't tell me about that. Okay. We'll see you all next month. Take care.
Okay.
Have a good weekend. Bye.